have the preferred service agreement with Heating and Cooling 2.
I've been around Heating and Cooling 2 for probably 15 years.
When the technician first came out to the house, I was very comfortable. He was on time. He was very helpful in helping me understand what I needed to do.
I would recommend them just because they take so much pride in what they do. And they just show a lot of respect to the homeowner.
I would absolutely refer people to Heating and Cooling 2. My sister-in-law had them out last week.
There's just no comparison. If I rank them, they're just a 10.
A partner you can count on. CordellCordell.com.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
From the 651 Carpets Plus, home of the Next Day Install Studios, this is FM 100.3 KFXN, Minneapolis, St. Paul, The Fan.
If you're a woman and you have $428, go buy yourself a pair of $428 jeans and then go down here to the Cowboy restaurant, W. Keith's on a Friday night. Plop those suckers up there on the stool, and the wolves will come howling at your door, mama. I'm telling you, the more money you spend on clothes, the better you look. Once you get over that Anoka County line and head north, your troubles are behind you. You are what you wear, except for meat sauce.
What's happening, sports fans? It's day 3 of the NFL draft, and we are jacked to be here. Eric Nordquist and I are here until 2 o'clock, and the one and only Thor Nystrom joins us now. Thor, we talked to you about a week ago today. How are you, my brother?
I'm doing great. Good to join you guys.
Yeah, thanks for showing up, man. It's going to be fun. So here are a couple of bits. Nordo, what do you got?
Well, the main bit is thanks again to our buddies at Heating and Cooling 2. For bringing not only draft coverage leading up to the draft, but bringing you cool streams, the ability, KFAN.com/watch. Look, we're the motorcycle twins, okay?
Yeah,
my nickname's Dr. Fat now, so I'm not promising, a super cosmetic and artificially appealing view, but you get to watch us, and it's all thanks. We can't do stuff without great partners like Heating and Cooling 2. You can learn more about them and their services, heatcool2.com, whether it was Wednesday night, and of course, noon to 2 today, we get to watch the best day of the draft, Saucy. Saturday's the best day.
Love it. It's the best.
And that's why Thor's here, so he can tell us who all these guys are.
Thor, last night, the Minnesota Vikings at pick 102. A lot of us were watching the Wolves game. They took Ty Felton, the wide receiver out of Maryland. Your thoughts?
Ty Felton, great athlete. Lanier-type wide receiver, slender, 6'1", 183, 4.37 40, 39.5-inch vertical. He dominated at the NFL Combine. The funny thing was he was actually disappointed. Ty Felton thought he was going to run 4.35 with a 40-inch plus vertical.
Wow.
You see that athleticism on his tape. He can get deep. He's also really good after the catch. One thing he has to clean up is his ball skills. That kid gets jostled by contact, and it can discombobulate him at the catch point. You see the lack of play strength as well with the releases. He can get jammed there. Those are two things he needs to clean up with his game, but all the athletic traits there, all the playmaking ability and all the speed to be a playmaker at the next level.
So one thing I've been thinking of, and obviously the Vikings aren't going to say, hey, we missed out on this guy. And this is why ultimately Ty Felton was selected after the team moves back several spots, I believe, with the Houston Texans is who they made the deal with. And so without kind of knowing that, some people I've just been reading about it, and some people texting me like, why are we taking a wide receiver in this spot? So you're missing out on Brandon Powell. You're missing out on Trent Sherfield into 2025. You bring in a Rondale White. And I'm completely blanking. Maybe you have the name in front of you, and I'm going to find it in 5 seconds here. Tim Jones, there we go, the wide receiver they brought from Jacksonville. So you're kind of rounding things out there. But Ty Felton, I think a handful of kick returns, a couple of punt returns during his time with the Terps. So maybe it's not that he's offering that return element as part of this, but do you see this guy as somebody that can contribute in the passing game early? That's kind of where I'm going to, is kind of his usefulness early on. Is it straight up just he's going to be that speed element with some pass catching and shifty abilities for KO's offense.
I think he has a shot to push Naylor immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. And to your point, you also have the specter of the potential Jordan Addison suspension hanging over you, and you have very little wide receiver depth.
True.
So to get that wide receiver, I think that's why they prioritize him. There was obviously some positions we thought were a little bit bigger needs and players there that might have been attractive to you, but I understand this. People need to keep in mind this was not a very good receiver class, obviously. And after Felton, you don't have many guys that have that ability where you could project them immediately to push a guy like Jalen Naylor.
Now, maybe this is dumb, but kind of the idea. I know that this Addison, and there's no finality, I don't believe, on the Dewey case out west yet. I haven't seen a verdict of any sort. And then also I haven't seen anything from the league. But let's say, 2-3 games. It's important for the team to plan, but you wouldn't take a guy this high if it was merely for that, right? Like, I mean, you have plans for this type of player. Maybe he's a gunner on special teams, those sorts of things. I love that you immediately pointed to him competing with Jalen Naylor, because if they did miss out, as we were summing this up and we talked about it at the auto show, you were nice enough to join Charch and myself yesterday on the feast. It's kind of like if you had a hierarchy, you get the tackle, you get the guard at pick 24, and then D-line, we're looking at that, corner, safety, et cetera. If they got beat on that, maybe the head coach is just like, hey, this guy's there, and in lieu of the opportunity to get these other guys, I just want him, and maybe I got a couple of ideas for him, even after Addison is back, right?
For sure, yeah. And with that depth chart being as problematic as it was, and again, that wide receiver class gonna drop off a shelf here on day 3. Not a ton of attractive options at the wide receiver position. If you wanted that guy, you kind of had to pull the trigger at that point.
So this was the time to do it, and that's maybe what precipitated
I think
that.
so,
Okay.
yeah. The depth we talk about, for instance, with the running back class, the IDL class certainly has that as well. There is a dearth of that in this year's wide receiver class, way down from the past couple years. Ty Felton, if you can clean up that stuff, there is that lack of play strength. And I don't know how much better you can make that, but you can certainly work on his release package, help him get off the line. And then the catch point stuff, the issues with the contact there's stuff you can work on there, contorting your body positioning, I think, to try to clean that up as well.
So the Carolina Panthers are on the clock, and pick 123 as we're about halfway through the 4th round of this draft. The name that has not been picked and has been on Mel Kiper's best available since day 1. He's on, if this is a golf leaderboard, he's on the first page of it.
Joshua Farmer.
That is Shedeur
That's
Sanders.
the D tackle out of Florida State.
Yeah, that's the one
Where's
the name.
Farmer going?
Yeah. But as we get to pick 123 and you see Pittsburgh up there again, they aren't picking him, right? Why, in your expert opinion, A, has Pittsburgh continuously passed on Shedeur Sanders? Why has everybody passed on him? And is there a chance he goes undrafted?
This is one of the more shocking falls that we've seen, and certainly in my time covering the NFL draft. And it's one of those you can't point to traditional off-field issues or traditional durability issues or some of these different things that typically cause falls like this. This is a personality thing, and the circus surrounding him and his father, the influence there, and that ability to the idea being that it could hurt a team's culture. Shedeur Sanders in those team meetings, which obviously did not go well for him from the reporting. There was this idea that he wanted to go in and be in charge of the team. He wanted to be the team leader, et cetera, et cetera. And there's trepidation about that in NFL buildings. They obviously did not like the way that he interviewed. This is an incredible referendum from the NFL, a statement that they are making about how they feel about a person, not an on-field evaluation. And I do not have a precedent for that in my time covering the draft.
Yeah, I can never think of a time. And as much work as you've put into players, Shedeur, I mean, albeit, this might not be the most highly touted quarterback class ever, but I remember when you've joined, whether it was our show 9 to noon and just seeing your stuff via social media and fantasy life, that Shedeur, in your opinion, I mean, you can flip a coin between him and Cam Ward. I mean, the talent is absolutely there for him to be a starter and belong from a purely playing standpoint, right?
Absolutely. And a kid who comes out of an NFL system, played for Pat Shurmur, right? Yeah. At Colorado, there was NFL passing concepts. And the thing to keep in mind with his on-field evaluation, he played behind a crappy offensive line both years at Colorado, did not have 8 of a running game.
It's Phil Lodeholt's fault.
Yeah.
I think he was the coach.
Yeah, I think he was, yeah.
Yeah, Phil, you're doing fine over there.
Phil's great, by the way.
You're doing fine. But, I mean, I love what we saw with his accuracy, with his placement, Shedeur Sanders, and he takes care of the football. I like the way his on-field game translates to the NFL, but that's, inside of buildings, that's where these guys are sitting across from in the interview rooms and being like, I don't think we can bring him into our building. I don't think this guy's going to be a good influence. He's going to think that he's QB1 right away, et cetera.
I think the other thing, too, and it's been talked about, is at this point in the 4th round is the Steelers pick. We'll see what they do, and of course we'll tell you what they are, who they pick. But the thing I think at this point, though, is if you bring him in, he's a backup. You don't draft day one starters, guys that are going to lead a franchise at pick 123, right? Those guys go, and we talked about it. Other than yesterday, one quarterback in the last 2 years or 3 years has gone in the 2nd and 3rd round, right?
Yep.
Kyle Trask barely made. I think he was like the last pick or the first pick in the 3rd round, whatever it is. You don't see quarterbacks go in the 2nd round, right? Because if you want one, you move up in the 1st round. Now you're getting to the point, though, where like if you bring him in, they pass on him, by the way. They took Jack Sawyer, the edge linebacker from Ohio State. So this is going to continue. If you take him now, though, the circus still comes with, right? And you've got a point, though, that you and I talked about in the locker room. There's a team here that may need a backup quarterback. Now, I'm not suggesting that they do take him or they're going to take him, but you made a perfect point. If he comes in here and he's a hassle or wherever he goes, you cut him.
Yes. Yeah, and the risk is mitigated here, and that's like the Steelers here with this pick. I don't, and Mike Tomlin, he has a relationship with Deion Sanders. Yeah. He has a relationship with the family going back a while, and they have a crying out need for the quarterback position. I don't understand. Like, bring in Shedeur Sanders, and to your point, if he doesn't work out, if he thinks he's the king of the locker room right away, he's trying to dictate things, cut him. Yeah. For the price of a mid to late 4th round pick. What are you losing at that point? But yeah, you do have to start to wonder, when is he going today? Is he going today? With the referendum that the NFL has made on Shedeur Sanders so far, is that all encompassing?
I mean, you look at the teams that have to go, Nardo, the Packers aren't going to take him. They pick next. The Chargers, I don't think will take him. Cleveland's passed on him multiple times, and they took...
And already took the quarterback.
Yeah, they took a quarterback. The Colts,
Dylan Gabriel, they took over Shedeur Sanders.
Which I don't understand that pick. I mean, that's a reach of all reaches, right?
Isn't Dylan Gabriel just super short?
Yeah. I call him, my comp for him is poor man's Tua. He's a tiny left-handed Hawaiian scrambler.
But like you go down. You go down.
Sounds awesome.
You go down this. Yeah, I would eat that. But you go down this list, and there aren't a lot of teams left in this 4th round. Like even Johnny Manziel, who had all of these off-field issues, he's sneaking into casinos, he's drinking in the green room of the draft day, he's got all these other issues, he's partying. He was a 1st-round pick. Sanders has none of that. Now, I've all week just basically ripped that it's all ESPN talks about, but the kid at this point deserves to be drafted. He should have been picked yesterday. And there's, as you said, there's like a league-wide bit that they just aren't going to take him. And here we are halfway through the 4th round, and he's yet to go.
Doesn't it feel a little bit – remember LeVar Ball? Like big baller brand.
That, yeah.
And just when Lonzo was taken originally by the Lakers, right? And then you got LeVar on the sidelines at every game. He's pimping the shoes, and he's got everything. And LeVar – was almost like the media representation mouthpiece of his own son. And that went super negative, and now LeVar has left into obscurity while Lonzo can't keep his knees healthy, and LaMelo's hurt all the time in Charlotte. But doesn't it kind of feel like that, where it's almost, even if Shedeur is just a twerp, like he just needs a reality check, the getting beyond that part might not be as hard as the fact that there is a family brand. And he can be in Colorado, he can be out of the NFL limelight, but Deion is a freaking 6,000 lumen spotlight.
Yes, he is, yeah.
On the football universe. And bringing that brand in, even if it's Tomlin, even if you have Like I just and Tomlin with the way that he's had to navigate some of those issues with players and Antonio Brown and Facebook living in locker rooms after games,
that, right? He's one of our NFL's better coaches at dealing with personality issues.
And so maybe he is the right guy, but maybe he just doesn't want to deal with it. At this stage of my career, I'll try to figure out Mason Rudolph before I try to figure out and deal. And then you got the Rodgers conundrum going on, right? Yeah. If they took Shedeur, would that impact Rodgers' decision to potentially, eventually come out of his ayahuasca haze and join the Steelers? I mean, it's very punitive, is what it is. He deserves a chance to play, certainly, but man, the league has the league's not given up yet. It appears.
For our Packer fan producer, tell us about the guy they just took at 124, Thor.
Yeah, give us his entire biography.
Yeah, where he went to high school, where he grew up. Yeah, but edge rusher.
He's at the draft.
Yeah.
A 4th-round pick at the draft.
I love that he's going up there. Sorrell, I had him 160 overall. What slot are we in now? 124. Slight reach to me, but you've seen some of those defensive front guys get pulled up a little bit.
They reach.
Well, they've been taking a lot of wide receivers during this. It's funny, they usually go with the infrastructure positions. They're letting their hair down now that they're the host, taking the 2 wide receivers in the top 3 rounds. But Baron Sorrell, 6'3.5", 256, 931 RAS, 93rd percentile size adjusted athlete. I comped him to Cedric Johnson for folks out there that know Cedric Johnson. But for me, this isn't a guy that's going to be a starter in the NFL. This is a rotational player. I'm fine with him here. I do think he was pulled up just a little bit on the board.
We'll come back. The Minnesota Vikings have pick 139 and 142.
Coming up.
Those are 2 5th-round picks. Hopefully they pick when Thor's here because we'll get Thor's breakdown. The Vikings have taken Donovan Jackson at pick 24 and Ty Felton. They took late last night a wide receiver from Maryland.
Live NFL draft coverage this week on Minnesota's home for football, FM 100.3.
651 Carpets Plus. We bring the showroom to you. Come on in. Here's how your free in-home estimate works. We bring you all the latest and greatest styles to complement your home. We use our state-of-the-art measuring system so we can give you the best price for your project on the spot. And we have thousands of products that you could have installed the next day. Call 651 Carpets Plus for your free in-home estimate.
We have the preferred service agreement with Heating and Cooling 2.
I've been around Heating and Cooling 2 for probably 15 years.
When the technician first came out to the house, I was very comfortable. He was on time. He was very helpful in helping me understand what I needed to do.
I would recommend them just because they take so much pride in what they do. And they just show a lot of respect to the homeowner.
I would absolutely refer people to Heating and Cooling 2. My sister-in-law had them out last week.
There's just no comparison. If I rank them, they're just a 10.
Lounging leather appointed seats or available features.
American Pressure sells and services pressure washers. What else does American Pressure do?
Hydro excavating accessories, automatic parts washers, detergents, hoses, parts, floor scrubbers, flat surface cleaners, sanitation systems, and industrial run-all-day battery-powered pressure washers.
Whoa, all that here in Minnesota in Robbinsdale. They come to you, or you can go to them. Find out more at AmericanPressure.com.
American Pressure. Say it, don't say it.
The 2026 World Junior Hockey Championship is coming to Minnesota in December.
Team USA has gone back-to-back.
Don't miss the NHL's future superstars in your backyard. Secure the best seats today at WorldJuniors.MN26.com.
You have a plan for your business and a vision for its future. So it's important to have a banking partner that works to understand all of your goals and what it will take to help you reach them. Work with a banker who is dedicated to listening first and providing insightful, personalized advice that's right for you and your business. Work with Bremer Bank, because understanding is everything. Put us to work for you today at bremer.com.
Hey, it's Guardsy from Bumper to Bumper for Gutter Helmet of Minnesota, the original gutter protection. We had Gutter Helmet put on our gutters last year. We couldn't be happier. We didn't have to climb any ladders or deal with any clogs or water damage last fall, and we won't have to this spring either. Gutter Helmet of Minnesota has kept leaves, pine needles, and other debris out of our gutters for good. You can learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com and take advantage of 20% off any gutter system for April and May. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
Advent is now open in Eden Prairie. Find out more at adventknows.com.
Breathe well with simple solutions. Advent
Okay, who's ready to fish? Fleet Farm's all stocked and ready to go with the hottest brands to help you gear up for the season. Like the latest lines and lures from Berkley, Fluger rods and reels, Northland tackle, bobbers, and bait, all sorts of Senko worms, the best in fish finders from Humminbird, Lowrance, and Garmin, St. Croix rods, new releases from Abu Garcia, and more. Stop in and check out the latest fishing gear from all your favorite brands at the best prices guaranteed at Fleet Farm.
Here's to sweet summer days together with friends and family in Wisconsin. To discovering magic in every moment.
Hey, Mom, over here.
And to reconnecting through a world filled with wonder.
Wow.
Here's to supper club celebrations and dancing until the sun goes down. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Plan your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
What's the real cost of a neglected roof? It's hidden leaks, rising energy bills, and oh yeah, structural damage that can cost you thousands. Perfect Exteriors believes your home deserves better. That's why we use only high-quality materials built to last, with an enhanced warranty that covers both materials and labor for 50 years. Schedule a free inspection today at perfectexteriorsmn.com. A strong home starts from the top.
Back to Speculate. This is NFL Draft Coverage, presented by Heating and Cooling 2 on the audio home of the Minnesota Vikings, KFAN.
Carboni's Pizza wants to fuel your playoff party. Visit one of their 30-plus locations to enjoy delicious pizza and get ready for a playoff run. Find your nearest Carboni's today at carbonispizza.com.
Welcome back. Saturdays with Sauce. We're on till 2. Thor joins us till 1. Nordo is here. We are deep into the fourth round here as pick 125 is in. And, of course, the talker of the draft is Shedeur Sanders is still available in the fourth round. I think two teams, Thor and Nordo, that I think would be a possibility for him to go is he could go to Jacksonville, where, you know, they've got the number 1 overall pick that they took a few years ago, Trevor Lawrence, who has just been okay, right? And I think the Dallas Cowboys are a team that takes him because Jerry loves the attention. I think he's 6-1 to go to the Cowboys, but we just see another pick come off the board, and it's not Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, and both those organizations, they have new coaching staffs, right? And the thing we talked about with Shedeur are the coaching staffs on the hot seat. Is there a concern there that if we start slowly next year, that the fan base is going to be clamoring for Deion Sanders to take my job?
Yeah.
So those ones both make sense. Jacksonville, you have that offensive leaning head coach there. I think that would make a lot of sense. If Shedeur Sanders has been humbled enough to accept, I have to come in, I have to keep my mouth shut, I have to put my head down and work, and I'm projected now to be a backup by definition, where you're going to go in the draft. That's what you're looking for. And again, the risk has been mitigated for you with how far he's been pushed down the board.
So with this draft so far, coming into it, you put kind of your big board together via Fantasy Life, I believe. 500 players. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've done a ton of work on these guys, and it's depth of this position group, dearth of talent, as we were talking about, cliffs of falling off in certain groups, like the wideouts, end of round 3 with Ty Felton going to the Vikings. Is there anything that you've seen emerge where this kind of surprised me a little bit? There are more from this group, or a higher interest. The value of these guys as a group is higher than I anticipated. Anything popped in through the first 2 days where it's like, wow, we're seeing a lot more run of on or off ball linebackers than I really anticipated? Not as many running backs have gone, et cetera. Anything hit you like that?
Yeah, this class was forwarded as lacking a certain sex appeal, and that has been emphatically repeated by the NFL during the picks that we have had so far. You have seen the trench positions, the meat and potato, the infrastructure positions pulled up the board. The offensive linemen have been pulled up the board. The interior defensive linemen have been pulled up the board. We knew it was a good interior defensive line class, and the NFL has been very aggressive with that. And obviously, those were two positions of acute need for the Vikings, things we were monitoring all spring long. And you got into that environment that you did once they came on the clock at 24, where the interior defensive line, the top four, were off the board, the top four consensus, Derek Harmon being the last one there.
Yeah.
And then a guy like Gray Zabel, you not have access to him because everyone's getting pulled up the board at the offensive line position.
So with that said, as we enter, holy cow.
He's getting emotional. He always does.
Oh, Jalen Travis off the board. This is my favorite tackle sleeper.
And that's why I'm emotional.
Yeah.
Jalen Travis.
You're a huge Jalen Travis
You
guy.
and I.
We've been talking about him for months.
I wouldn't let you hang up the phone until we were done talking.
Yeah.
Sorry about the vocal related L. But so to that end, as we enter with the Vikings having a couple of picks today, is there a group, because, you know, the lever pulled here means that there's going to be more on this other side. Is there a certain position group where value can be had in day 3? Somebody that, you know, we just mentioned Baron Sorrell. Okay, he goes $124. You had him at 160, so you're feeling that's a reach. And I love hearing that, a reach in relation to the green and gold. That's very, very good for us as Vikings fans. But then does that mean, ooh, speaking of gold, I'm getting one heck of a value on this guy if I find him in the $130s or $150s. Anybody strike you there?
Yeah, talked about the running back class all spring and how this running back class potentially historically stacked. The only one in recent years, recent memory, you can even begin to evoke to it is 2017. We'll end up seeing if this one is better. But we talked about how on day 3 you're going to get incredible values, particularly in relation to the last couple running back classes that we have seen. You might get a round and a half discount on a guy at the running back position compared to where he would have been selected just last year, maybe even up to 2 rounds. There is ridiculous values on the board right now at the running back position. Damian Martinez, very, very good running back coming out of Miami. Spent early part of his career at Oregon State, has been productive in 2 systems. Devin Neal from Kansas, tremendous feat for a 220-pound back. Scadaboo came out the board earlier. DJ Giddens, another one. DJ Giddens reminds me a lot of Zach Charbonnet, tremendous athlete, a little over 6 foot, 215, 98 percentile size adjusted athlete. But yeah, Dylan Sampson, I don't think is off the board either. Brashard Smith.
Just went.
Oh, he did just go.
Dylan Sampson just went to the Browns. The Tennessee running back just went. Yep.
Yeah, and doubling up on the running back position, something Cleveland Browns, they took Quinshon Judkins earlier on. I had advocated potentially for the Vikings to do just that. But it was interesting, the Jordan Mason trade. I think that, you wonder, how can you get Jordan Mason for what's essentially the equivalent of Ed Ingram, right? It was the pick that they had acquired there. Then they just sort of passed that along. How did you get Jordan Mason that cheap? I think that was the NFL's acknowledgement of the running back class that was to come a month later, right? There was teams protecting spots on their depth chart at the running back room. Obviously, the Vikings gave one of those away to make that trade, but you got the very good value on Jordan Mason, so you can't argue against that. But yeah, Cleveland Browns, first team to double tap the running back position. They will not be the last today.
I got to ask you a couple of Big Ten specific questions, and one non-Gophers, one Gophers related. But I want to start here. So Blake Corum, I forget where he went, maybe second round or third?
Third.
Okay, perfect. So Khalil Mullins is still available in the running back class. And this one kind of shocks me. And without being hardcore college football, without watching every single snap, I thought there were times, specifically 2 years ago with that title-winning team, that Donovan Edwards was actually the more explosive and in some ways, Corum at the goal line inside the 5. But when you wanted to make plays, and he had those 2 long touchdowns in the title game, that I'm surprised that he is, and this is just ESPN, I don't have your specific list in front of me, we're talking 7th round if he gets drafted.
For sure.
He's kind of in that territory right now. Is there something that I was missing with him, or maybe a much smaller quality crop that he would potentially be an earlier day 3 type? Where do you sit on a Donovan Edwards? I thought he was really damn good the last time I was watching him on a regular basis.
Yeah, Donovan Edwards has NFL tools all day long. That's more a function, again, of the depth of this running back class, right? I mean, a guy like Donovan Edwards, and the bugaboo on his evaluation, it's a lack of vision. So sometimes you see him miss holes. Sometimes you see him run into the backs offensive lineman. It kind of reminded me of, do you guys remember Kalen Ballage From Arizona State.
Yeah.
I mean, he was bigger. Donovan Edwards is a skinnier version of this, but Kalen Ballage had all the athletic gifts in the world, but you would see him miss open holes. You would see him run into the back of his offensive lineman sometimes. That's something that you see with Donovan Edwards a little bit. Can you improve the vision? Can you improve the feel? But yeah, as far as an athlete, utterly sleek athlete, he has some receiving utility as well. You have the explosive element there. And again, speaks to the depth of this running back class. Him and Khalil Mullings, they're both guys. Last class, you're probably looking at 5th round picks, right? In this class, 7th round, and one of those guys could get pushed out of this thing.
Yeah.
There's going to be running backs that should be drafted that are not going to be drafted in this class just because of the numbers of them.
So for Gophers fans, then, the other Big Ten side of it, specific to maroon and gold, so far, Justin Wally, the DB, he goes to the Colts, and then Aranti Ursery, left tackle for the Gophers, goes to the Texans. Ursery in particular, at one point, via the mock draft madness, you were seeing him back half of and kind of maybe bottom 10, bottom 8 of the first round at times. And then he kind of disappeared into the mist. And then obviously now I believe he goes late day 2. Any surprise with Ursery's fall in terms of his draft stock? And what do the Texans have and as a team that are trying to, they're replacing Laramie Tunsil and all those penalties. Kenyon Green, they sent him to the Eagles. And there's one more name I'm forgetting, but they're replacing 3 guys on their O-line and trying to protect C.J. Stroud into year 3 after a tough one last year. Is Aranti Ursery a guy that's going to come in, immediately compete, and potentially start games in 2025 for the Texans?
Yeah, if you watch that Texans offensive line down the stretch there.
So bad.
Ursery,
So bad.
if he could pick his destination in advance of the draft, he might have picked the Texans.
100%.
Right? And I was,
Land of opportunity.
You are correct.
To your point about earlier in the process being mocked at the end of the first round, and then, obviously heading in, he goes around where we ended up thinking in advance. But what was interesting is the environment we found ourselves in, what I was talking about before about the offensive lineman getting sucked up the board. That happened to a lot of other guys, whereas Ursery sort of went where you would predict around, in that sort of slot. So I love the value for Houston. And I think the reason for that, you go from the late first round projection to sort of the mid second round projection. The NFL's acknowledgement that they did not see him as a tackle, I assume, is what that was.
Okay.
I think he could hang at right tackle, or he could play right tackle in the future if you need him to. Obviously, left tackle at Minnesota last 3 years, only 1 sack allowed, over 419 pass pro reps last season. I love it, his size, 6'6", 331, his light feet. The light feet, enormous frame is the dichotomy there. Drops a cruise ship anchor in pass pro. If you want to get into a firefight, he is going to stop a bull rush of NFL power players. It just is what it is. He can get crossed up by movement on the boundary, though. That was
okay.
And that's sort of the issue with the idea of keeping him at tackle and why it was the projection was immediately right tackle or inside. I think this guy is going to be a really good guard in the NFL, and I think he is going to start from week 1 for the Texans, who desperately need the help. Ursery, the light feet and then the ambulatoriness of a 330-plus pounder. This is a guy who gets out of his stance really quickly. He can go and hunt at the second level. Was really good in the zone running concepts. So a player who I think his game projects well to the NFL.
We'll come back. The Vikings are 8 picks away. They pick 139 and 142. Those are 5th round picks. We have gotten to almost the end of the 4th round. We'll go through some of the picks with Thor and who they've been, and we'll wait for the Vikings to make their 2 final picks in the 2025 NFL Draft.
Rarely jams it with 2 hands. Make us your playoff preset on the free iHeartRadio
We
app.
have the preferred service agreement with Heating and Cooling 2.
I've been around heating and cooling too for probably 15 years.
When the technician first came out to the house, I was very comfortable. He was on time. He was very helpful in helping me understand what I needed to do.
I would recommend them just because they take so much pride in what they do. And they just show a lot of respect to the homeowner.
I would absolutely refer people to Heating and Cooling 2. My sister-in-law had them out last week.
There's just no comparison. If I rank them, they're just a 10.
Heating and Cooling 2, a family-owned and operated HVAC company, has proudly served the entire metro area since 1980. Heating and Cooling 2, a factory-authorized Bryant dealer, currently has deals of up to $4,000 in tax credit and rebates. Go to heatcool2.com for more information. That's heatcool2.com.
It's the Luther Tire event going on right now and all month long at over 45 Luther locations. All month long, if you buy 4 tires from Luther, you get a $100 Luther gift card. Plus, Luther's going to hook you up with free lifetime tire rotations and, of course, great customer service. So it turns out the best place to buy a car is also the best place to buy tires. So find a dealership online right now at lutherauto.com. It's the Luther Tire event going on all month long at over 45 Luther locations. Luther and lutherauto.com.
Volatility. Everyone's feeling it, and that's why more and more people are tapping Chris Lindahl Real Estate's Guaranteed Cash Offer program. We helped a record number of people last month, and this month is looking even better. The reason is simple. When you gamble by listing your house on the open market, there's no guarantee anyone will buy it, and other cash buyers don't call their offers guaranteed. The answer to volatility is a guarantee, and only a guaranteed cash offer is guaranteed to get you to the next chapter of your life. Get yours today at chrislindahl.com.
Terms and conditions apply.
Hello again, it's Mike Fratelloni from Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores. Do you want a perfect looking lawn? What you need is Scott's 4-step program. It's all 4 bags of the fertilizer you need for your yard for the whole year. It starts with crabgrass prevention, goes to weed and feed, then a little bit of iron in your lawn, then the fall fertilizer. We don't even want to think about that. Come on in right now. It's only $94.99 after an easy rebate. If you don't have a spreader, don't worry about it. We'll let you borrow a spreader. This is Mike Fratelloni, Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores. Scott's 4-step program starting at just $94.99 after rebate, and we'll see you in the stores.
When your business needs to stand out, you need a graphics partner you can trust. Brand Inc. delivers high-impact vehicle wraps, architectural graphics, and event signage on time and with unmatched quality. Our expert team and 3M back installation ensure precision every step of the way. At Brand Inc., customer service isn't extra, it's built in. Bring your brand to life with Brand Inc. Visit brandinc.com. That's Inc. with a K. brandinc.com.
As America's leading business lender, Bank of America is on your corner and in your corner, right here in the Twin Cities. With $215 billion in business loans and over 3,700 business specialists across the nation, we help businesses thrive so communities prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Hey friends, Ben Lieber here for Woodhouse Spa. It's safe to say we all love our moms and appreciate everything they do for us. I'm forever grateful for some of the little things my mom did, like making a hearty breakfast every day before school and seeing her in the stands at all my activities. It's the little things that count. So this Mother's Day, all our moms deserve some relaxation and pampering at Woodhouse Spa. Treat mom with a gift card for luxury spa services. It's a simple gift that says, I appreciate you. Get your gift cards at woodhousespas.com. That's woodhousespas.com.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
At Chain Company, we've been engagement ring experts for almost 100 years. We have the largest selection of diamonds and gemstones in stock. You don't have to wait to compare them side by side. Find the one that speaks to you at shaneco.com or in store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
In-betweens are made for pizza. In between meals, meetings, thoughts, that's pizza time. Stop at Speedway and get 2 hot, delicious slices of pizza and a Mountain Dew 20-ounce for $5 with Speedy Rewards. The convenience stores of Speedway. Valid through 4/29/25. See app for full terms.
Common here. Get more out of your golf game. Join the Minnesota Golf Association. Receive a handicap index that allows players of all skill levels to compete on an equitable basis. Post scores, track your stats, course GPS, and enhance your round of golf with the free USGA mobile app. Access to the best public and private courses at the MGA North Star Series and official state championship for all levels of play. And junior golfers can play for only $5 thanks to Youth on Course. Get more out of your game at mngolf.org/join online.
Now back to the 651 Carpets Plus, home of the Next Day Install Studios on The Fan.
All right, final segment with Thor Nystrom, who joined us last week. This has been great, Thor. If we want to find your top 500 board, where would we find that?
You can go to fantasylife.com or just Google Thor 500. But yeah, my 500 player big board with 500 player comps. You can see the best players available. And then tonight, this is really why I construct a board that big. Once the UDFA free for all begins, and we were talking about this off air, the Vikings are going to be very active, particularly if they stay with 4 picks. And you get a trump card in the argument with agents. Your client has a better shot to hang on our week 1 roster with that smaller draft class. But people can go there when you start seeing the UDFAs that the Vikings have signed, see where I rank them and see who I comp them to.
So as I'm looking at things right now, and one thing we were talking about off air as well is you got 2 picks left. You stick with 2 picks and do, best player available, team with many needs. Tight end is a need that this team has in terms of we got one more year left of Josh Oliver. And then, of course, we're hoping that Mr. Hawkinson fully recovered and now a year removed from the knee, that he's ready to splash and ready to explode in 2025. But from a tight end standpoint, let's say you do something like that. Are there, you only got 2 picks, so you can't cover 5 different bases here. Is there a position that it's like, I'd like to see him do something? And you mentioned the undrafted market's going to have its opportunities, and this team with only 4 picks is going to have a ton of UDFAs. So that's what I'm looking forward to as well. But, from a standpoint of, at one point, I really wanted a corner or safety at 97.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So now, based on the depth of things, is the Q, the CB I've heard, and I wonder how much of it is truly that Kobe Bryant, the KU cat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Chalk.
Yeah. At Thor KU for a reason, right?
That's right.
So, but I wonder how much of it is actually Kobe Bryant's going to be a good day 3 option versus I kind of also just like saying Kobe spelled a little bit differently.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a mix of both. But if you wanted a corner, you didn't get one. Now we have Ty Felton. Welcome to the Covenant, Mr. Felton. Is there a position like when we get out of here with 2 picks today? I'm hoping that one of these is covered in those 2 picks.
Kobe Bryant would be fun. I call him Baby Mamba, of course, but he's a little bit skinnier. Thought about declaring for last year's draft, and the NFL gave him a day 3 grade at that time and told him to go back to school and gain weight. Just a little wiry, but he showed he was better, and he showed improvements in run defense. And this past season, and I really like the way that he covers. Really feisty guy out there. I think right now in the war room, if you're staying with 2 picks, you're the Vikings. You're doing some 3-dimensional chess thinking right here with that 4-man class. If that's what it's going to be, you could prioritize running backs because, again, those are the best values you're going to get on the board right now. But you're also you go to UDFA, you stay with the 2 picks, you want to get an RB3. UDFA running backs this year, you're going to have the best UDFA running back class that maybe we have ever seen. And so the Vikings, again, you want to get aggressive there. Maybe you don't take the running back. You don't take the value in this slot because you feel that we can get a rosterable RB3 in the UDFA ranks. Maybe we prioritize a couple of these positions that drop off quicker. Tight end position depth there is precarious right now for the Vikings. And I feel that we have gotten some telegraphed intentions that the Vikings intend to use one of these day 3 picks on a projectable developmental tight end. The guy that I want is Thomas Fedone from Nebraska.
Okay.
He was the #1 tight end recruit in America coming out of high school, and very unfortunate circumstances early in his career. Tore 1 ACL prior to his true freshman year. Tore his other ACL prior to his sophomore year.
Wow.
So his first 2 years were wiped out. The last 2 years we got to see him out on the field. The passing game wasn't great for Nebraska when he was a true junior. They had a little scrambler there that wasn't good at throwing the ball. And last year we had the guy that thinks he's Pat Mahomes, the true freshman for Nebraska, throw a ball a little bit better. Raiola, yeah. But they didn't send Fedone. They didn't use their tight ends down the seam in that system. They used the boundary receivers to go downfield. So you didn't get to see as much of that. But Thomas Fedone, the athleticism in the prototypical frame that gave him that pedigree that he had as a recruit retains that. 6'5", 243, 95th percentile size adjusted athlete, and a guy that plays inline. So you have seen the flashes with him, and it's a guy you can project to stay in line. And you look at the RAS webpage. RAS, it's a relative athletic score page. They give you the 5 closest player comparisons to that player based just on pre-draft athletic testing going back to the mid-1980s. Thomas Fedone's closest athletic comparison since the mid-1980s is a guy named T.J. Hawkinson. Wow. You just look at the size, the measurables, and the athleticism. So that's a pretty intriguing ball of clay.
Well, you know what's funny about the tight end spot, too, is in the end, Hawkinson lion's share of opportunities. And Josh Oliver, I think, such a much more sound and reliable 2024 season versus his first year here, and still kind of trying to work him into whatever the best is that they believe they get from him. And then Johnny Munt, he's certainly a lunch pail guy. But I'm looking at this from training camp last year. We love making sure that we have the right tight ends. Nick Muse, Trey Knox, Sammy Reyes, N'Keal Harry. We were trying to experiment with him making this position change. And Robert Tonyan, could the back just stay healthy? And sadly, for Tunyan's sake, it did not. But it's unbelievable how many tight ends we had in camp for a squad that ultimately we picture we want space, we want guys that can stretch, and part of it, of course, Hawkinson returning from injury. I get that part of it, but tight ends, one way or another, have found their way on the 90-man roster in mass with KO's Vikings.
Yeah, and if you're going to stay playing a decent amount of 12 personnel offense, maybe they intend to just slant it all the way to 11 personnel, the 3 wide receiver. But again, you don't
Not
have
with
great,
JJ though.
Yeah, well, you don't have and you don't have much behind the top 2 receivers like we were talking about with Felton. Hopefully they ran into one with Felton. Hopefully they can clean up the catch point stuff and the release package, etc. But if you're going to stay using 12 personnel regularly, you need to get another tight end. You don't really have a choice. Right now you have Oliver, you have Hawkinson. You mentioned Sammy Reyes, who all-time just developmental ball of clay, coming out of Brazil, but an amazing physical package. You don't have anything else right now. You have to get some depth in there, and it would be nice as well to get a guy that you feel you can develop into a future contributor that would get on the field. TJ Hawkins is not going to be around forever. Josh Oliver is not going to be around forever. So I want to get a guy there that has projectable traits that could potentially turn into a starter if everything hits right, and that's Thomas Fedone.
Would you take a quarterback, and we can talk about if it's going to be Sanders or not, but with the picks at 139 or 142, you were talking off the air of how, the difference is taking a backup. Somebody you take now would be a backup quarterback and how much money that would save you. What are your thoughts on 139 or 142 being a quarterback?
Yeah, if you are comfortable with Brett Rippon as QB2, that opens up the possibility that you could use one of these picks on a quarterback. And the Vikings did a little bit more work on the quarterback class, I think, than people would realize. The idea of could we take a QB3 and if Rippon is going to be the QB2. And the point was made to me, people talk about getting the rookie cheat code contract with regards to the QB1, difference of $4 to $5 million a year against 40 to 45 to $50 million a year. And obviously what you can do with your roster with that money that you're saving. But the point was made to me, nobody ever says that about QB2, right? And you pay $10 million or so for a competent QB2 on the open market. If you could get one on a rookie contract, you're saving roughly $9 million per season over 4 years on that rookie contract. That can be put towards another position where you could get a starter. It's $9 million AAV. So I think that is a possibility.
So we are now basically 4 picks away as the Broncos pick at 134 was just taken. We are 4 picks away. Do you think that the Vikings find a way maybe to pick somebody at 139 and then try and move one of these picks? Or do you think they're settled with taking these 2 picks in the 5th round and just moving on and then going after that undrafted free agent class?
Well, Kwesi, he had come out and he's already talked about, thinking through the idea if we stayed with the 4-man class and being comfortable with that. And then I thought it was interesting when they did trade down from 97 that wasn't a pick that added selections. It was a pick that allowed you to move up with the second one, but it was a 2-for-2 trade. So you remain with 4 picks. I mean, if it's me, I'm certainly listening on the phone lines, but again, it improves your viability in the UDFA process to stay with the 4. So I'm going to need value. I'm not bailing out of the pick for giving up more value to do that. So I think both options are on the table right now. It's just going to depend on the phone calls you get.
Not that the roster is complete, but I remember stumbling upon this on Thursday night too. Again, going back to sticking and picking at 24 versus moving back. And, Kwesi's going to say what Kwesi wants to say. He's the general manager. I kind of tend to agree with him, though, that based on how this thing is constructed, we want to get to building this team more through the draft and ultimately create hard conversations in terms of extending players. That's in the long-term view and maybe shorter-term view than longer overall. But this isn't a team that needs 10 guys. You know what I mean? I mean, this doesn't feel, and the way that you've kind of broken down the draft, the idea, do we need 8 to 10 draft picks in this particular class? Yeah. It feels like kind of going that route, and then ultimately let's be strong on the academic, on the notebook, on the scouting side of it, and really master this UD class. Like, I think that feels right to me, doesn't it, with you?
I think so, yeah. And, you know, in this is the particular class where I would have been comfortable having less picks. I mean, you never want to go into a draft class without equity, but if you were going to pick a class to only have 4 picks, this probably would have been the one. Someone asked me before, like, comparing this to other classes, like, where would you rank it? And I gave it a D+. You know, if you're grading on a curve and C is an average draft class, yeah, this wasn't the best draft class. And
now you graduate, though, right?
Yeah,
is that
right,
the case?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, D's get degrees.
They
man.
do?
Yes, they do.
Do you know from experience?
Yes, I do.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and again, one of the positions in need, again, running back for the Vikings, we know that you can get a good UDFA running back. So there are positions, of course, where that's not the case, but overall, this was not the strongest of draft classes.
So here we are. We are 3 picks away. The pick at Tonka Hemingway, defensive tackle from South Carolina, just went to the Raiders. The Ravens are on the clock at 1:36.
And as always, as we do on a yearly basis, you can just let me know if we need to pronounce something.
I do.
But Tonka Hemingway,
yeah,
I mean, that's
perfect. Yeah.
Easy, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, as we chip away here, like, you know, the quarterback is fun, but like we talked about when the show started, I think the most shocking non-first round pick that was taken was Dylan Gabriel being taken over Sanders. Dylan Gabriel is one of those guys where, like, I think Mel Kiper had him at like his 10th quarterback. He went in the 3rd round. Like, there's so many weird things that happen with that, but I just think there's a lot of quarterbacks that I really like Quinnen Ewers. I wouldn't mind him picked at one of these picks for the Vikings. But he's more of a, long shot guy. I think he should have stayed in school.
1,000%.
I don't know what got him. I mean, Arch Manning, but he could have transferred anywhere. He was at Ohio State, 5-star recruit. He could have gone anywhere. I don't know why or what.
He should have returned to Ohio State.
Yeah, right.
He could have thrown to Jeremiah Smith this fall.
Correct.
Made a bag. Yeah.
What possessed him to come out this year?
He was trying to claim it was loyalty to Texas, which I thought was funny because he graduated from high school a year early to take an NIL bag from Ohio State.
Yeah,
and he left them when he got another NIL bag from Texas. But yeah,
and schools have always proven to be super loyal to the players.
Yeah,
I mean, he's just returning that.
Well said.
Well, that's great.
Texas obviously wanted to go with Arch Manning, and Quinn Ewers' decision after that was okay. Well, then I'll go to the pros. But yeah, he absolutely should have put himself out in the transfer portal and then had a bidding service for his services.
What about where did you see Shuck? Because he was the pick with the Saints, I believe.
40th, yep.
And Louisville cat, and I think he went viral for that hideous throw at the combine, if you remember that. But that was actually, if we're going to talk about guys that went before Shedeur, I was kind of surprised by that. But clearly with Kellen Moore and company, it's not just maybe the punitive side of things, but they feel with that rat's nest of QBs, Derek Carr's health, and then Spencer Rattler, I didn't think he showed very much when he got opportunities last year, that they're going to roll with Shuck instead of Shedeur.
There is one clear path for the Saints to recoup the value of the slot where they selected Tyler Shuck, which is throwing him out there next year so they can gun for that number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they just burnt a 2nd-round pick.
You think so?
Yeah. They just dumped gasoline on it and lit it on fire. This is a guy who's almost 26 years old. He did not break out until his 7th season in college.
7th. What is he,
Parker
Parker
his 3rd
Fox?
different college. Yeah, exactly.
Brandon Whedon story.
Yeah. I mean, he flamed out.
him.
He flames out of Oregon after his first 3 years on campus. They thought he was the future Justin Herbert. He was the heir apparent there, and they benched him after 3 games. He goes to Texas Tech. 3 straight seasons ravaged by injuries. Durability questions with Tyler Shuck as well. Don't like the way he deals with pressure. He got inoculated from some of that in the Jeff Brom system he played in last year. Brom at Louisville, very underrated quarterback whisperer. You have the QB-friendly system there. Tyler Shuck, almost 26 years old. Again, in the physical ability, sure, 6'5", 219. He had the 9.7 RAS. He can do cool things with his arms. Sometimes, that throw at the combine, maybe not one of those instances. But, yeah, I don't know the upside that you're getting there. And, again, a guy with durability concerns. For me, that was a long-term QB2. I saw the report today of like, don't be surprised if Tyler Shuck is starting week 1. Okay. They're gonna stink next year, and it's a guy who is not good under pressure. Their offensive line is terrible. I don't know.
So Seattle is trading their pick, and they are trading it to New England. So New England jumps up to that pick of 137. Your Vikings are 2 picks away.
Ooh, baby.
We have 2 picks left in the 4th round, and Sanders is yet to be taken. Are we in undrafted territory at this point?
You have to start thinking about it.
I mean,
man.
Because this does not have to do with his on-field profile, right?
No.
And teams, they yank guys off their draft. I do the ridiculous 500-player big board. NFL teams' boards are much smaller than mine. They look for reasons to throw you off their board, right? The durability stuff, domestic stuff, they'll threshold things. Trent Baalke with the old Jacksonville Jaguars GM was famous for tossing guys off the board if they didn't have his arm length threshold, right? And so they're looking to par their boards down. If teams, when Shedeur Sanders came in, they didn't like his interviews, and that was a lot what we were hearing this pre-draft process, they will throw you off their board for having a poor interview. I don't want to work with that kid.
Yeah.
And if 32 teams said that, he is going to go undrafted. Oh, we're just going to have to find out, is there one team that's like, we can deal with it, and the risk is, again, has been mitigated for us. If it doesn't work out, he comes in, don't like the attitude, we can just cut him and it's no problem. We'll find out.
I mean,
that's brutal.
Yeah, I mean,
he goes undrafted,
right? I mean,
gets his jersey retired in Boulder and doesn't get called.
I mean, we got 2 more picks here until the Vikings pick. We'll stick here until they pick, and then we can take a break, come back with Alec Lewis. But I think there's so many things when you watch this. I wasn't shocked when he didn't go in the first round, right?
Yeah.
I like Jackson Dart. I think Jackson Dart will make a good quarterback. I think he's exactly the quarterback Brian Daboll wanted, and I think they made the right move. You can't take Jackson Dart at 3 and pass on a guy like Abdul Carter. That get you fired in the draft room, right? But I think that they made the right move by coming back up to get him. But then you watch a team that desperately, I mean, we've all seen the bit on social media of the Browns jersey that has 70 names at quarterback. Yeah. They passed on him twice yesterday in 4 picks.
Well, they already got a circus.
I mean, I was just...
they already got it. They already got one issue.
Yeah, that might help him, though. That might get him away from said circus. But
the 2-time coach of the year may have just pounded his fist on the table, and he's like, no. Okay, sorry, Mr. Haslam. Yeah, I get a say in this time, and we're not doing that.
At this point, though, we're 2 picks away. Sorry. At this point, though, if you're Dion, you're calling every connection you have, and I would guess that phone call starts with Jerry Jones. I mean, Jerry Jones might do Dion a favor, but we're a pick away from the 5th round, and a guy who Mel Kiper had in his top 10 is still available.
How would Dak Prescott handle that?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, but at this point,
it's an insane situation.
Said, you don't have to handle anything. He's a 5th round pick at this point. It's a nothing. He's going to show up and earn the number on the back that some of these teams do, earn the logo on the helmet. It's nothing at this point.
I totally agree. Yeah, and if he brings his brother there with his video camera, he wants to do his web show and boss some people around.
Is that Shiloh?
No, the other one, the one that didn't get football ability.
So is that like Mahomes' brother?
Yeah.
With the TikTok videos and stuff like that?
I prefer the guy taking the video to the stupid dances with Jackson Mahomes, but yeah.
Hey, your Joshua Farmer guy just
Joshua
went.
Farmer.
Yeah. I liked him.
Yeah, he went to...
This is a good pick.
Yeah.
Especially in the interior defensive line class. Surprised this guy got pushed down. The Florida State interior defensive lineman, very toolsy. I would have liked this guy for the Vikings. I'm curious if they were thinking about that 2 slots away. Joshua Farmer, one of the few interior defensive linemen who ends up falling down the board in an environment where most of them were getting pulled up.
Well, that means they're going to trade back then.
Yeah, who knows? Well, they're on the clock right now.
So Niners pick is in?
Yeah, well, not yet, but they're 1 pick away, the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, so Niners $138.
Yeah.
And then the Vikings 139. First pick. How about that? Final pick of the night on Friday. They'll get the first pick of the 5th year.
Yeah.
Are you feeling confident in an offense? If I put you on an offense or a defense question regarding 139, which way are you going?
I'm gonna say offense.
Offense.
I'm gonna go tight end.
You're going Fedone.
I'm gonna go Fedone.
Fedone is first of all, it's a sweet name.
That is a great
name.
Yeah, that is a great name.
Like if I got a buddy that I want to hang out with, what do we call him? Fetty?
Yeah, I guess. Fetty Wap.
Fedoner?
Yeah. I don't think you should call him that.
Okay, well.
What about...
We're just workshopping it here, okay?
So as we wait for the 49ers to pick, who do you think so far, Thor, has had the best draft?
Love what the Ravens did, taking Malachi Starks in the first round, guy that the Vikings considered in their slot 2 picks before that. And then the Ravens were the team that stopped Mike Green's free fall.
Yeah.
Right. And we know why Mike Green, why he was free falling the off-field things there. But Baltimore, they clearly have the infrastructure there. They're clearly a team that has a BPA ethos in their slots. And you get essentially a round discount on Mike Green because of the trepidation the rest of the NFL have with that off-field stuff. Another team, random team, Ravens every year, one of the best drafting teams. But I really like what the Cardinals are doing as well. I've liked the values that they have gotten in their slots throughout. You start with Walter Nolan there in the 16th slot. I like that pick, again, but getting in there before the interior defensive line where they were all getting picked off. And then stopping his fall, Will Johnson at the 47th slot.
That's a knee issue, right?
A knee issue, yeah. And it might be an overall lower body issue. That Will Johnson, he had the incredible 2023 season with J.J. McCarthy on the Michigan national title team. Last year was dinged up the entire time, and he had either 3 or 4 separate lower body injuries, and then that report of the knee. So that's a little bit troubling, and we don't have more information on the medicals outside of that. But a guy who should have gone in the mid-first round, you just look at the on-field profile, ends up falling to the middle of the second round.
All right, here we are. Your Minnesota Vikings are on the clock. The 49ers just took Jordan Watkins, a wide receiver from Ole Miss, 5'11", 196 pounds. So your Vikings are on the clock. Nordal, they haven't traded, have they? You haven't seen anything online that they've moved on from the pick?
No, as I'm looking at it right now, Jordan Watkins, wide receiver, Ole Miss, goes 138 to the Niners. And now with the first pick, the Minnesota Vikings are on the clock.
It says pick is in, so it looks like the Vikings are staying in this slot to make this selection.
All right, here we go.
Well, let's see here. So, pick 139, and we'll break. We'll come back, and then we'll get to pick 142. Thor. But so if
we agree, if they take a punter, we can throw a tantrum. Correct?
Yeah, we were at TCO. Nordo and I were, and they took Daniel Carlson.
Yeah, it was brutal.
And there was like 5 minutes of basically dead air.
Yeah, I don't think that's good for radio.
And then he ended up.
Yeah,
he's great. Yeah, he was great. And then they moved on from him real quickly.
Yeah, they probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, so your Vikings are on the clock right now. It says on ESPN the pick is in.
Pick is in.
They will probably just show it go. If you see anything over there, if they have it on NFL Network, we're watching ESPN. Man, I think it's...
Do you think they'll interrupt the announcement for a Mel Kiper, Shedeur Sanders opinion?
I mean, what if it is Shedeur Sanders?
I would be down.
Yeah.
I would be down.
I'd love it for what we do.
I'm not opposed to it.
No, I'm not either.
It'd be good for our business.
Of course.
Yeah.
It'd be outstanding.
And a chance to compete.
Yeah.
Although, with J.J. McCarthy, I mean, again, all of this conversation and obsession over QB2. Why? Because we got JJ.
That's right.
It's JJ season.
Correct. Yeah,
and
that's a waste of our time.
At present, you have a vacancy at QB3, right? And there's been the expectation you sign a veteran QB2, but again, if you take a QB3 that you can develop into QB2, the money you save per year on the salary cap, roughly $9 million against generally what you'd be paying for the veteran QB2.
Have we seen the names?
Means,
they just went to break.
Shedeur has to go to the practice squad then. Because Brett Rippon will be QB2. I mean, if you're not going to get Humble off the practice squad, then there's no hope for you.
Let's hope that whoever they pick is the who's the guy from Denver, the basketball team that was picked during a Taco Bell commercial?
Oh, Jokic.
Yeah, let's hope this is a Jokic moment, that the guy's picked during an AT&T commercial and now an Eco commercial for all these lawnmowers and whatnot. Just tell us who the pick is.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was going up. Come on.
Okay, Mel says we need a corner or a D tackle.
Who's a corner you would take at this position?
Well, I don't know if Asante Samuel Jr. is on the way. They don't need a corner, right? So it's
yeah.
Is there steam behind that? You think that kind of started off of a viral? Wasn't it like a Miami club bit?
Yeah.
There's stuff coming around.
Doesn't mean it's unfounded. Yeah. I'm just saying. I believe it started in the club.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
I mean, if it's he hasn't been signed yet. It's been all quiet on the Western Front, and you connect the dots, and it would make all kinds of sense. But if he is on the way, again, you don't need a cornerback, but. That position group's been a little bit picked apart, and I wonder if, a part of that, it has to do with that. But yeah, if you were going to take one now, Dorian Strong from Virginia Tech, I think makes some sense. 6'1", 185, 83rd percentile size adjusted athlete. Zy Alexander from LSU kind of plays the way that Flores likes to cover on the outside, the press man corner, 6'1.5", 187. Did not have the best athletic tests, but he's a physical outside corner. He'll get his hands on you off the line.
Here's the pick. And the pick is
Tyrion Ingram Dawkins.
Who?
Edge from Georgia.
This is an interesting guy where the people that like him consider him versatile and a hybrid, and the people that don't consider him a bit of a tweener and maybe quadruple A. I had him 192nd on my board. I'm not going to quibble too much. I comped him to Jason Strobridge, another guy that I thought was caught between a couple positions, but 6'5", 276 pounds for Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. 98th percentile size adjusted athlete, still 21 years old. You have projectable traits there, but again, you're sort of caught between interior defensive line and edge there. They have to figure out what position he is, and obviously with the pick being made here, there is a coach in that room that has a supposition of this is what this kid is, and I will get him there. So there was obviously defensive coaches pounding the table there. Projectable guy. Again, if you can figure out the role for him, might get him a little bit bigger. Maybe you slim him down, and now you're going to be predominantly edge, however they want to do that. But it is a guy with projectable traits.
You're the absolute best. Where can we find all your stuff?
You can find me on Twitter at ThorKU, and you can find 500-player big board, the Thor 500 at fantasylife.com.
We're joined by Alec Lewis. We'll come back. The Minnesota Vikings have one more pick as of right now. It is pick 142. Pick 140 was Cam Johnson, a defensive tackle from Florida. Nordo?
And thanks as always for watching us, KFAN.com/watch. And thank you for supporting us. Heating and Cooling 2. You can learn more. They've brought you all of our KFAN draft content. Heating and Cooling 2. Go to heatcool2.com.
Live NFL draft coverage this week on Minnesota's home for football. FM 100.3 KFAN.
Hear that? That's the sound of another person saying yes to their guaranteed cash offer from Chris Lindahl Real Estate. Every time a bell rings, another homeowner gets their freedom. Because accepting a guaranteed cash offer means you're in control. You can sell your house on your terms, and you can move on to the next chapter of your life. In a shifting economy, certainty is success. When you gamble by listing your house on the open market, there's no guarantee that it will sell. But when you accept your guaranteed cash offer, it's guaranteed. Get yours today at chrislindahl.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Meat Sauce here for my friends at Elm Creek Brewing to tell you about Secret Sauce, the new THC pink lemonade drink. It's the absolute best. Head to the Elm Creek Brewing tap room today. Get 15% off your purchase when you mention Meat Sauce. Ask for the Secret Sauce by Elm Creek Brewing today. It wails.
If you're like me, some moments just call for soda. Nothing hits quite like that fizzy flavor. But what if there's a better way to enjoy those refreshing sips? Meet Sunsip Soda. From the gut health experts at Health-Ade. It's got those craveable flavors I love, like cherry cola and root beer, plus gut-healthy prebiotics, vitamins, and minerals. And get this, it's naturally sweetened, but there's no stevia or aftertaste. It's undeniably good soda. Pick up a can of Sunsip in the beverage cooler near Health-Ade Kombucha at Whole Foods.
Undeniably good soda.
Stop in this Friday and Saturday for the Acme Tools Spring Sale and save up to 12% on your favorite power tools, machinery, and accessories from over 100 of the world's best brands. Talk shop with factory reps and try before you buy. Take advantage of daily doorbuster deals and register to win a prize package from Milwaukee, valued at $499. Don't miss the Spring Tool Sale this Friday and Saturday, only at Acme Tools. Do your best work.
At Shane Company, we've been engagement ring experts for almost 100 years. We have the largest selection of diamonds and gemstones in stock. You don't have to wait to compare them side by side. Find the one that speaks to you at shaneco.com or in store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Comment here for All Elements, your roofing specialist in the upper Midwest. All Elements has made it easy to plan your roofing project with their new All Elements Visualizer tool. Visit their website, upload a photo of your house, and you can choose from a wide variety of different shingle types and colors. And you can do the same with siding to see how your house will look. The All Elements Visualizer tool, it's brand new from All Elements, your roofing specialist. Visit their website today. Visit allelementsinc.net, allelementsinc.net, or KFAN.com, keyword roof.
Here's to sweet summer days together with friends and family in Wisconsin. To discovering magic in every moment.
Come on, over here.
And to reconnecting through a world filled with wonder. Here's to supper club celebrations and dancing until the sun goes down. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Plan your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
What's the real cost of a neglected roof? It's hidden leaks, rising energy bills, and structural damage that can cost you thousands. Schedule a free inspection with Perfect Exteriors at perfectexteriorsmn.com.
Hi, it's Angela Warner for Warner Selling Appliance, and you can forget waiting until November for new appliances because we're rewriting the rules of Black Friday. With upcoming tariffs and the price increases they'll bring, now is the time to buy. We're starting Black Friday early with unbeatable appliance deals you won't find anywhere else, like $50 to $500 back on each appliance on top of up to 50% instant savings. So join the savvy shoppers and get ahead of the game during Warner Stellian's Spring Black Friday.
This report is sponsored by Cordell & Cordell.
With your forecast, I'm Corey Hartman. For today, lots of sun and a high near 64. Tonight, a few showers and a low around 47. Showers and thunderstorms Sunday, 63.
It's 57 at our studios.
Cordell & Cordell, Divorce and Family Law. 866-323-7529. 866-323-7529. Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on. CordellCordell.com.
Draft coverage all weekend is presented by Heating and Cooling 2 on the audio home of the Vikings, iHeartRadio, and FM 100.3 KFXN, Minneapolis, St. Paul, The Fan.
Well, Nordo, we have a trade. I got to mute the TV. Sorry, I can't hear anyway. We have a trade. The Minnesota Vikings have traded.
Great.
Pick 142 to the Seattle Seahawks.
What?
For Sam Howell.
Oh, Sam Howell.
The quarterback. So,
well, we're not going to take Shedeur, though.
No, that's their backup quarterback. And the trade, the Vikings moved down. They got Sam Howell and pick 172. So they moved 30 spots back.
Yeah.
And they get Sam Howell.
Well, we were worried about what we were going to talk about later on this hour, and maybe that's pick 172. But Sam Howell feels like Nick Mullins in a different person's body. Sam Howell had his moments of greatness, the type of guy that'll throw you 2 touchdowns and maybe throw 2 touchdowns to the other team as well over the course of a game. But that maybe answers the QB2 conversation, Saucy.
Yeah, I mean, that's it, right?
It's Sam Howell.
Sam Howell's the quarterback. So
and then Brett Rippon, it didn't cost. Brett Rippon maybe has the opportunity to compete with Sam Howell for the backup job by week 1 in September. So cool. But that means that we don't have a selection, and we're still trying to learn all about our favorite new defensive tackle / edge / what's he going to be, and Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. I know that Alec Lewis of The Athletic, you had been promoting it as part of this, and we are live, not just on the Fan, but also, of course, via all streaming options, KFAN.com/watch. Thank you to Heating and Cooling 2, heatcool2.com. Alec Lewis of The Athletic is feverishly reporting on Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, the edge rusher out of Georgia that the Vikings selected at pick 139. So he might jump on the phone with us sometime later this hour. But we are expecting, right towards the end of the show, we're going to get to hear from last night's selection, Ty Felton, the Maryland wide receiver the Vikings picked up at the back end of the 3rd round. So we'll get a handful of minutes to meet Ty.
Yeah.
Find out what the former Terp thinks about being in purple and gold, thinking about working with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison every day. That's going to be a fun little chat that we'll get to have at the end of the show.
Yeah, this will be great. So your Vikings get Sam Howell, and they move back to pick 172. Thanks, Thor. And So they have their backup quarterback. Are going to possibly end with 4 picks with pick 172. I doubt we will be on the air by then, but they took a defensive tackle / defensive end. They've taken a wide receiver, and they have taken a starting left guard in Donovan Jackson.
I mean, we could just push back the extended wild pregame.
No, I forgot about that.
For pick 172.
A quick bit. How about Anthony Edwards last night, man?
No, it was sweet.
Unbelievable.
It was sweet.
He took that game over. He scored or assisted on every point they scored in the last 5 minutes.
It was 5 or 6 minutes
It was
left.
a 13-1 run.
It was it from there.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I know, tomorrow, this is dumb because it's a playoff series. Tomorrow is they have to play that like it's a game 7.
Yeah.
Because if they can take all the momentum they had from last night and go up 3-1 on this team, it would be outstanding. It would be going up 3-1 on a Lakers team that might have a little quit to them. You saw a little bit of it last night. Luka didn't really have a lot of interest in playing. LeBron, they got an epic vintage LeBron James game, and they lost. It was just an outstanding atmosphere last night. And I think the Wild, too, have a chance today to go up 3-1.
Thank goodness that Luka was dealing with that stomach bug, because I was worried how Mike Breen and Doris Burke were going to fill time during the national broadcast last evening. My freaking goodness. We get it. He didn't feel well. But he suited up, and he made the freaking dance, so he has to play. And he's and by the way, I can't remember who was defending him. Was it? I think it may have been Julius Randle.
Did they just give away the pick?
What are you talking about?
I think we might have the end of the Sanders run here.
Oh, really?
I think. They put the graphic up with him there.
But anyway, Luka shooting.
Sorry.
Did you see Luka being defended by Julius last night, right near the boundary, near the bench, and just iced that freaking 28? Luka's unbelievable.
Yeah,
this is a team that does not win clutch games, or at least they had not this year. 20-26 in clutch games is now. The draft broadcast has gone to commercial, and we're waiting to hear maybe the Browns at pick 144 finally fell on the proverbial football-related grenade and might be taking Shedeur Sanders. The flow of the game kind of felt, the way in some ways that it turned out. They were either going to win by double digits, Saucy, or they were going to lose a close one.
You are correct.
When you saw LeBron hit those 3 triples in a row, and he starts doing the thing. He's 40 years old. He also it was a great duality of LeBron, where he hits those 3 triples in a row, 9 straight points, ended with 38 or 40. But he's got his head down towards the floor, and he's got that blank look on his face. LeBron's we're in trouble.
Yeah.
But then a minute later, after it was 1 or 2 possessions later, somebody's just tossing him a pass, and he just butterfingered it.
Yeah, he did.
I was trying to fumble for the remote on my couch.
Yes, he did.
So he went from he has the Undertaker is back to this super 40-year-old feeble NBA player moment. But it was so cool, specifically with Anthony Edwards, that drive to the hoop that he had, and was able to avoid LeBron in one of his patented chase blocks or backside blocks, and then hitting that triple, which I think ultimately was scored along 2. And then Jaden McDaniels,
outstanding,
man, that 3 to really ice it on the far side. And Jaden is as enigmatic as anybody that we watch and love with the Wolves, where you get the game 1, you get last night 30 points. I think that was his playoff, maybe it was his career high. I'd have to be more digging into it than that. But the fact that you will also have the game 2s where he's just you can't find him.
No,
and he can't hit any of those shots. But if Nas and Jaden McDaniels are going to hit shots, it is absolutely over. The Wolves will win tomorrow, and then they just got to take one of the next 2. Maybe they force it to 6, last dying breath, and we win it back at Target Center in next week. But you have to win tomorrow, otherwise all that momentum of stealing their gusto, the Lakers, all of that is gone if you allow them to go back 2-2 to LA and we start this whole damn thing over again. So win tomorrow. But last night was amazing.
It was. The Cleveland Browns are on the clock. I don't know if that was an error by ESPN to flash.
Did they put Shedeur on there?
They did. And
wow.
So I don't know, but people are speculating that it might be the pick. We'll tell you when we come back right here on The Fan.
Live NFL draft coverage this week on Minnesota's home for football, FM 100.3.
We have the preferred service agreement with Heating and Cooling 2.
I've been around Heating and Cooling 2 for probably 15 years.
When the technician first came out to the house, I was very comfortable. He was on time. He was very helpful in helping me understand what I needed to do.
I would recommend them just because they take so much pride in what they do. And they just show a lot of respect to the homeowner.
I would absolutely refer people to Heating and Cooling too. My sister-in-law had them out last week.
There's just no comparison. If I rank them, they're just a 10.
Luther.com.
Remembering
651 Carpets Plus, we bring the showroom to you. Come on in. Here's how your free in-home estimate works. We bring you all the latest and greatest styles to complement your home. We use our state-of-the-art measuring system so we can give you the best price for your project on the spot. And we have thousands of products that you could have installed the next day. Call 651 Carpets Plus for your free in-home estimate.
And tell me why you are here.
I don't know, Doc. I just don't have fun anymore.
Have you tried a St. Paul Saints game?
I just want to go somewhere that's joyful and exciting.
St. Paul Saints.
Full of positive energy.
St. Paul Saints.
Affordable, with laughs and food and beer.
St. Paul Saints.
You know, fun. Wait, St. Paul Saints.
You're cured.
Today at 2:07, it's the Malmo Oat Milkers back from their amazing first season on a Treasure Island Saturday. Go to saintsbaseball.com for tickets.
As America's leading business lender, Bank of America is on your corner and in your corner, right here in the Twin Cities. With $215 billion in business loans and over 3,700 business specialists across the nation, we help businesses thrive so communities prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Hey friends, Ben Lieber here for Woodhouse Spa. It's safe to say we all love our moms and appreciate everything they do for us. I'm forever grateful for some of the little things my mom did, like making a hearty breakfast every day before school and seeing her in the stands at all my activities. It's the little things that count. So this Mother's Day, all our moms deserve some relaxation and pampering at Woodhouse Spa. Treat mom with a gift card for luxury spa services. It's a simple gift that says, I appreciate you. Get your gift card at woodhousespas.com. That's woodhousespas.com.
Save big money on your next project at Menards. Never run out of hot water again with a hybrid heat pump water heater from Richmond. This water heater's advanced system detects any potential water leaks and sends an alert to your smartphone. Menards has a great selection of water heaters in stock, ready to take home today. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Why is life better with American Family Insurance? Because every policy comes with something very special. A trusted agent who's there to help protect your dreams by finding the right coverage at the right price. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Barrero here with Mike Bryant of Bradshaw & Bryant. And Mike, I want to broach a delicate subject.
What's that?
Wrongful death.
A very tough subject, as I've learned over the years, but an important one. It's the worst time in a survivor's life with all the loss and fear that come with sudden departure. A time when many people feel simply overwhelmed and don't know what to do.
I can't even imagine, Mike, but I do have to believe at just such a vulnerable time, one thing should matter a lot.
What's that?
Experience. Working with representatives who've dealt with wrongful death and know what the priorities need to be.
You're exactly right. It's where lawyers and staff that care can make a difference, where early investigation can make a difference. It's where decades of experience in this sensitive area can help.
That describes you and Bradshaw & Bryant to a T.
Well, I hope so. We want to help.
One phone call to Mike for a free consultation at Bradshaw & Bryant. Go to MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com. That's MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com.
Seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw & Bryant.
Looking to take command of the series, the Wild host the Knights in Game 4. Today at 3 on the audio home of the Wild, KFAN.
Well, Nordo,
happens,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
I can't see you with all the shades and everything. I can't see you in there.
Fair enough. I just wanted to say that tomorrow, Max and Parker Fox come to you live from Target Center for Timberwolves Lakers Game 4. Don't miss out. Pregame 1:30 and fan line after to follow the game. You can listen live on KFAN or watch KFAN.com/watch. Howlin' with the Homies and Wolves fan line presented by Youngsteds, the auto service masters. Saucy, back to you.
Well, the Cleveland Browns moved up.
Yeah.
And took Shedeur Sanders at pick 144. Now,
Well, see you later.
if you're New England, San Francisco, Chicago, and a couple of these other teams who are picking now, your pick will never be mentioned because they are going to talk about this until the end of the draft.
Well, I just wanted to, before we get to the pick, I wanted to say congratulations to the ESPN production and content creation staff because it took a while, pick 144.
Yeah.
But they finally get to use the Shedeur Sanders video package.
The montage.
That they put together for the draft festivities. They thought that their brilliance and their technical know-how was going to be put on a platter on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Better late than ever.
Yeah.
So congratulations to them and all the digital work that they put into that because there is no chance. Already 2 people have been taken, and they have not talked about or mentioned either one of them outside of the ticker below. Mac Williams, if you were curious, a corner, and Braden Swinson, an edge. Congratulations on their budding NFL careers. But Shedeur, to the shores of Lake Erie and Mr. Stefanski.
So last night at pick 94, here's my CBSSports.com breakdown of the pick the Browns took at 94.
Okay.
Out of Oregon, quarterback Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
Here's how they broke it down. Undersized, weak-armed, super experienced quarterback.
Jeez.
They took Sanders 50 picks later, if my math is correct.
94 to 144?
Yeah, 50, yeah. 50 picks,
that's
yeah.
50. Well done.
But, they've taken 2 quarterbacks now.
Yeah.
And it's the first time since 1976 the Browns have selected multiple quarterbacks in a single draft, right?
You're asking me if I know that or if you read that on the TV?
I read that on the TV.
Okay.
It's an A-plus grade, obviously, but I think the value was just too good. I agree. If the Vikings had taken him, they didn't. They traded their second, fifth round pick for quarterback Sam Howell. So they have a backup quarterback now with Seattle Seahawks. They moved all the way back. The Vikings did to pick 172. We are off the air at 2 because of the extended Wild pregame game 4 between them and the Golden Knights is at 3:00, which will be A+. I can't wait. Go Wild. I hope they win. I hope they go up 3-1 for the first time in their ever that they've had a 3-1 lead in a series. Let's do it.
Well, they similar to the Wolves.
Yeah.
I mean, the other night you do what you did with Kaprizov, home crowd, St. Paul's rocking on Thursday night.
Correct.
All that goodwill is lost if you got to go back to the 7-0-2.
Don't lay
tied
down
2-2.
today.
No,
right.
Put the pedal down, man. I think Johansson's a little nicked up, but Gus has been unbelievable, and you're getting the production out of Boldy and Kaprizov that you're getting. It should, I hope it's lights out. This would be unbelievable for the Wolves, or for the Wild, Wild and Wolves, to move on. The Browns now they got Flacco, they got Pickett, they got Dylan Gabriel, you mentioned, Shedeur Sanders, and they still have Deshaun. I don't know how much Deshaun is going to cost them for the next several years. Fair dollar.
Yeah.
But what a rat's nest that is. Somebody's going to emerge. If you're Kenny Pickett And every morning you get up and you resent your own hands because apparently they're small. They make it sound like he's got baby hands.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're Kenny Pickett and they take both Gabriel and Shedeur, you're feeling awful right now about your stability.
Yes, you are.
With that franchise. Flacco doesn't care. Flacco's got like 7 kids. He's just chilling out.
Cash.
He's our age. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been an MVP.
What's he care?
It doesn't matter. He's just there to hang out and have fun, win a few games.
So, and again, about 8 picks have gone, and it's all they've talked about.
Yeah.
I think they're going to continue to talk about it for a while, but it's just weird because we talked about it a lot. Now, I ripped them for talking about it. I was shocked he didn't go yesterday, but he's off the board, so we can move on. He's not going to go undrafted. He goes to Cleveland.
But did you see Mel putting up there like historically the guys that he has had as highly touted QBs and their drops? This is totally unprecedented.
Yeah,
I mean, trust me, I'm kind of bored with it just because I don't really see him as an option here. I'm it's JJ season.
Yeah.
So, and the national obsession with it totally makes sense. I think it's a little overplayed, but all the same, it is really the biggest story of the draft by 100 miles. And it's truly amazing that until the Browns just did what they did, it's, I hate using the idea like it was, there was collusion involved or anything like that, but clearly there was a grand statement made by the league at large that you are a turd.
Yeah.
And we are not going to accept that in our league, in our respective franchises, and we are going to humble you. Ultimately, you'll get a chance to play, but you don't get to show up and wear the fur coat like Namath. No, you don't get to do that.
No.
You're going to go to practice and you're going to earn your freaking spot.
Yeah.
So stop it.
Yeah.
I do agree with what Mel was saying. We were listening to it off air, though. Deion's not roaming the sidelines.
No.
I mean, he does have a job.
Yeah.
He will be at Colorado handling business there. So it's not like he's going to be at every practice. But I think the combination of the brand and the kid just showing absolutely zero humility through this entire process, you root for somebody to find some. And Shedeur has now a fair shot to go do his thing in the NFL.
Yeah, and, it's tough because we joked about it earlier with Thor is we've all seen the meme of all the quarterbacks that Cleveland has taken. Maybe this is just another one to add to the list, but who knows, man? That team's in shambles they made one of the worst trades in NFL history by acquiring Deshaun Watson, who's just
that's why
horrible.
I was joking earlier, though. Like Jimmy Haslam, it was almost like the owner, as it pertains to the awful trade that you're mentioning, I mean, that's the kind of stuff. I mean, this is a team, you mentioned Johnny Manziel earlier. This is a team that drafted Johnny.
Yeah.
Like, just kind of think about.
Great point.
In some ways, to the extent where you were almost kind of surprised, even though they made a terrific haul return for it, that they traded out of the Travis Hunter spot. I mean, that was kind of odd because Travis Hunter is the type of highlight player that'll bring a little bit of buzz and cachet to Cleveland. That's absolutely the type of guy that a Jimmy Haslam would want his team to draft. But this actually, Shedeur Sanders, kind of falls in line with some of the decisions that the owner has made. What if Haslam, who's just kind of, he's trolling around in the draft room. He's got Andrew Berry and Kevin up front for the cameras, but when they're not on camera, Jimmy's like, look, I'm done. Take him. You're taking him. Yeah. I own the team. I write all the checks. What if that happened? That'd be nutty.
Don't turn around. What team got them to stop talking about it? Somebody came up on the clock and they're picking and they've changed subjects.
Well, it's got to be the Cowboys.
You are correct.
Yeah.
We'll come back. Final segment. Who brings us our wonderful draft coverage, Nardo?
The good people at Heating and Cooling, too. And they brought us not just draft coverage today, streaming on Wednesday night, draft coverage throughout our show lineups during the week. Heating and Cooling, too. And you can learn more about them. Terrific company at heatcool2.com.
This week, we're talking playoffs.
A right side three from Anthony Edwards. It's going to win the game.
And picks. The Minnesota Vikings are on the clock.
The audio home for the Wild, Wolves, and Vikings is KFAN.
De-risking is crucial. In uncertain financial times, How to Money is here to help. Open your free iHeartRadio app, search How to Money, and start listening today.
Minnesota's exclusive audio home for the Vikings and NFL Draft is right here. Make us the #1 pick for your preset on iHeartRadio. The audio home for the Minnesota Vikings is KFAN.
Heating and Cooling 2, a family-owned and operated HVAC company, has proudly served the entire metro area since 1980. Heating and Cooling 2, a factory-authorized Bryant dealer, currently has deals of up to $4,000 in tax credit and rebates. Go to heatcool2.com for more information. That's heatcool2.com.
Chris Hock here with big news from Aquarius Home Services at AquariusHomeservices.com. The Aquarius Home Services and Connecticut Customer Appreciation Open House is May 2nd through the 4th. Save up to 30% on Connecticut water systems. Water filters are 20% off, and heating and cooling systems are up to 30% off. Plus, you can get savings on generators, water heaters, and much more. And be sure to bring a water sample for a free analysis. It's all happening May 2nd through the 4th in Little Canada at 694 and 35E. Get all the details at AquariusHomeservices.com. Earning the right to be recommended.
You have a plan for your business and a vision for its future. So it's important to have a banking partner that works to understand all of your goals and what it will take to help you reach them. Work with a banker who is dedicated to listening first and providing insightful, personalized advice that's right for you and your business. Work with Bremer Bank, because understanding is everything. Put us to work for you today at bremer.com.
We're hiring at A1 Garage Doors. No experience? No problem. We provide full training, a brand new van, top-of-the-line tools, a gas card, and steady jobs with weekly pay. This isn't just a job. It's a career with real growth, great pay, and job security. Our team members go from training to 6 figures, and we're ready to help you do the same. Don't wait. Apply now at a1garage.com/careers.
A1garage.com.
History had the gold rush. Then came the oil boom. Then the tech boom. But right now, it's the Wi-Fi boom. And the Xfinity Wi-Fi is booming. Streaming, booming. Gaming, booming. Video calls, booming, even when your boss schedules a meeting that definitely could have been an email. And now you can get Xfinity Internet and mobile together in one all-in plan. It's the ultimate power couple. Now through June 23rd, new customers can get 400 megabit Xfinity Internet with free equipment and unlimited internet data, and get one unlimited 5G mobile line included, all in one plan, all for $40 a month for 1 year. So whether you're working, watching, or paying for Wi-Fi Gold, one thing's for sure, Xfinity Wi-Fi is booming. Visit Xfinity.com to learn more. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes, fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of data usage. Data thresholds vary. After 1 year, rate increases to $110 a month. After 2 years, regular rates apply to all services up to $143 a month. Actual speeds vary.
Hello again, it's Mike Fratelloni from Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores. Nothing makes your yard look great like new shiny mulch. Well, not shiny. It would be brown, red, or black. And it's Scott's Naturescape mulch. It really holds its color. Right now at Fratelloni's, we have it on sale for just $3.97 a bag. That is a great deal. You know that's a great deal. Come on in while supplies last. Scott's Naturescape mulch, brown, red, or black, for just $3.97 per bag. This is Mike Fratelloni from Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores. Come on in and we'll see you in the stores.
The 2026 World Junior Hockey Championship is coming to Minnesota in December.
Team USA has gone back-to-back.
This isn't just a tournament. It's where hockey history is written by the best young players in the world right in front of your eyes.
The opportunity for it to be in the state of hockey, I think we need to represent the United States how they should be.
Buy now to witness the future of hockey at WorldJuniorsMN26.com.
Common here for All Elements, your roofing specialist in the upper Midwest. April showers bring May flowers, and those showers can also reveal leaks in your roof. Reach out to All Elements today for a spring roof inspection and get on the schedule for roof repairs or a replacement if needed. And if your current contractor can't seem to locate the leaks in your flat roof, contact All Elements and they'll take care of it for you. Remember, whether it's commercial or residential, your roof is essential. Visit allelementsinc.net, allelementsinc.net, or KFAN.com. Keyword roof.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from
We can be twinsies.
to
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Now back to the 651 Carpets Plus, home of the Next Day Install Studios on The Fan.
Carboni's Pizza wants to fuel your playoff party. Visit one of their 30-plus locations to enjoy delicious pizza and get ready for a playoff run. Find your nearest Carboni today at carbonispizza.com.
All right, welcome back. Final segment. Thanks to our friends at Heating and Cooling 2heatcool2.com. They are a wonderful company. I love them. Nordo, we just witnessed a massive sports argument on ESPN, and not one that is like, all right, I'm going to take this side, you're going to take this side.
Right. No theater of the mind.
We just watched Reese Davis basically, without saying, he basically told Mel Kiper to move on. So here's the thing. Shedeur Sanders was taken by Cleveland. What is the hit rate on quarterbacks taken in the 5th round since 1994? What percent of quarterbacks since 1994 taken in the 5th round have worked out?
I mean, I'm going to go just bottom barrel low. I'm going to say like 4%.
Zero.
Wow.
So they're arguing about it. And poor Field Yates, who has to look, I mean, Mel Kiper is the reason we're all watching this, right?
I hate it when mom and dad yell.
And then yeah, correct. And then there's Field Yates being like, there's your own argument, Mel. And then Reese Davis has had enough. That was fascinating to watch.
Now, I will say this potentially skews it. And again, he's going into really a rat's nest in terms of the number of QBs that are there. They did take Dylan Gabriel,
which
I like. Shedeur Sanders, his trajectory better at this stage than I like Dylan Gabriel. So when you think about the punitive manner in which teams ultimately looked at and handled Shedeur Sanders in this draft, is he really, I mean, statistically, ultimately, he'll always be a 5th rounder now, but you have to look at him as being a bit farther ahead of the game than that, don't you? So, I mean, no 5th rounders have worked out since 94. I kind of don't look at him as that outside of his draft stock because of the way that he was dropped, or the reason, rather, that he dropped. So, I don't know. I'm just glad. I'm glad it's done. Now we can move on. It'll be interesting to see, though, because, again, Deion's got to go to work. Shedeur now has to go to work. He's going to go to rookie minicamp. He's going to do OTAs and minicamps and all of that. So now he's got to earn his spot. At some point, it'll just be a business, and he's an NFL player that has to show up. But there will be a circus. There will be a lot of questioning and a lot of focus, right?
Circus, yeah.
I mean, you'll get to, hey, Myles Garrett, fresh off the $40 million a year he's going to get. How are we liking that? Here's what we like about our other draft picks and what we ultimately feel about all of that. I can't remember. Did they draft a running back? I thought they drafted a running back.
I think they did, yeah.
I don't have their
specific.
Hold
on.
But the idea behind it, basically,
they took Mason Graham, then the linebacker from UCLA. Then, they took the other running back from Ohio State.
Yeah, Judkins.
Yeah,
Judkins. Or Fannin, right? It's like, eventually you'll get to how are you going to use Njoku and Fannin on the field together. Eventually you're going to get to some of those other things. Hey, probably tough to kind of turn the page on Nick Chubb and all the time that he gave you there and how good he was, sans for the tragic injury situation.
And they took Dylan Sampson. Did you mention that?
I did not mention Dylan Sampson.
So they've taken 2 running backs.
Well, I mean,
they took 2 running backs and 2 quarterbacks.
Stefanski can draw up elite running in his sleep. He's very good at that.
Yeah.
Why didn't you focus on the O-line? Like, they'll get to all of that, but it will be on the front end, the decision to select Shedeur. There will be a circus-like element to it. And if you're the coach, if you're certain players, really, how do you manage the potential resentment that comes from that, where it's like, we got a lot of stuff going on here. We're trying to win games, and we got a lot of problems and holes that we're filling. We don't need to talk about that's when they'll relegate him to being we're not talking about one guy in the QB room, the 5th round draft pick.
No.
We're talking about a team in its totality. So Mr. Haslam, Mr. Berry, Mr. Stefanski have brought that into the house. Best of luck to them.
So speaking of quarterbacks, the Minnesota Vikings traded pick 142.
And we got Sam Howell.
Yeah, they traded 142 to the Seahawks for Sam Howell. The Minnesota Vikings now have one pick left at 172. At 139, Nordo, they took...
At 139?
Yeah, they took a defensive lineman from Georgia.
It was Tyrion, and I apologize.
It's Tyrion Ingram Dawkins.
There we go. Yes, I didn't have it in front of me, and I was trying to text Alex.
So they have taken a offensive guard, a wide receiver, Ty Felton, who we might talk to in about 5 minutes here.
Yeah, 8-9 minutes. I believe he's going to call in from Virginia. Excited to meet him.
And then the defensive lineman / edge. We talked with Thor, who was in, and he was here for the pick of Ingram Dawkins. And he said he's kind of a tweener between a defensive tackle and a defensive lineman. But they have one pick left. Yeah. And
this whole thing's been boring.
It's been boring.
Yeah.
And it's not that I love the Donovan Jackson pick. I really do. I love that they stuck at that pick. I love that they identified they needed a left guard. And as Thor has said, that it's basically their infinity stone for
he wouldn't have been there if they had moved back.
No, and as you saw, the Texans bailed the second Donovan Jackson was taken because they would have taken him had we not taken him and maybe taken a corner.
As did the Rams, by the way, albeit some pretty generous currency from the Falcons, but all the same.
But here's the thing. You talked about it with the possible rumors of a veteran cornerback. They have one pick left at pick 172. We aren't going to know. We'll know what it is, but you and I will not be on the air, Nordo. Here's the thing. It can only be one position.
Yeah.
They did not so far take a safety, so they must really believe in Theo Jackson. They did not so far take a cornerback. Your thoughts?
Well, I guess, what did they want? So if we go back in time a little bit here, let's check out the third round where they picked. So at the end of the third round, this is where we always knew it was going to be a bit of a FOMO Friday in regard to not having a second or third round pick. You make all those moves to get up and get Dallas Turner a year ago that you might be missing out on people. So how much did they truly love Xavier Watts, the safety out of Notre Dame? And then earlier on, you're looking, Caleb Renshaw. I'm just throwing out names at this point, but in the same sense, you look at Noel Williams out of Cal, Parrish out of K-State. I know a lot of people were really liking Jacob Parrish. He goes to the Bucs. Some of these guys went in the 80s. So and go for Justin Wally. He was available. He goes 80th to the Colts. But you see this significant run on Siobhan Revell, another name. Again, now I'm just naming names. But my point ultimately in the end is how much did they really like one of those guys if they had fallen? So there's a little bit of hope in the mix there. We were kind of having some fun earlier with Thor and Kobe Bryant, but if they got burned or sniped on somebody and they just bailed out a 97 and moved back, ultimately take the wide receiver, I am a bit surprised if they're ending this draft without a corner. But the way things played out, if this Ty Felton, we're gonna get to meet him hopefully on the phone in about 5 minutes. What if the head coach is like, this is kind of a gotta have it? We got burned on Siobhan Revell. He went 30 picks higher than we thought he would. We got burned on Parrish. We wish he would have been hanging around to the point maybe one of these guys could have been good enough where we might try to jump 3, 4, 5 spots to pick him up, but they weren't there. I think most people thought that the very next step, the obvious conventionally wise move after you take Donovan Jackson is to go with a defensive player, a tackle or a corner or a safety at 97. So I was surprised when it didn't happen. Then I'm scrambling to get to know Ty Felton and now kind of excited to see what he can do from a skill position standpoint, but you still feel a little bare on the CB side. Okudah, that's a reclamation project. And you're hoping, Isaiah Rodgers, you kind of like some of the names, but Mekhi Becton, you're really putting, Mekhi Blackman, you're putting a lot of stock into the idea that he can jump back from that knee and kind of be back on that same trajectory that you thought he might be before the training camp bit in the knee a year ago. So it's there's still plenty post-draft. If there's any steam behind the Asante Samuel Jr. bit, I have no idea. But you feel like you're leaving the draft a little empty-handed.
Yeah.
I think in that regard.
Yeah.
But wasn't it always going to be that with only 4 picks? If they had taken a defensive tackle in the 90s and we don't get a corner, you can kind of try and sell it. Well, we're going to be so stout on the defensive front with this guy, XYZ player, that we can shade a little bit on the corner side. But you feel a little bit bare on the depth chart. The safety thing, I don't want to say it worries me. I'm not sitting around losing sleep at night, but Hitman's old. Cam Bynum's gone.
Yeah.
Metellus, there's no reason that we wouldn't have an opportunity to re-sign him, but final year of his deal. Theo Jackson, keep hearing everyone loves him, but when it really mattered, Theo wasn't making the play. He wasn't getting on the field because of the guys in front of him. So is he truly ready to be an 90% of the snaps type of guy? Would have liked a safety at some point. So corner and safety, I just feel like we're missing something there, and it's going to have to be gun for hire territory in the same vein of a Stephon Gilmore a year ago. Shaq Griffin, finding a landing spot here. I think was it Carolina or Houston he was with prior?
You are correct.
But he gets the 1-year deal. It's going to be probably that kind of thing. It's going to be a 1-year deal for some veterans, the island of Fabian Moreau, and we'll fill out the depth chart that way.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, too, is, as you just said, Nardo, is they're going to have to try and find a way, too, to a couple of camp arms, or maybe they pick 172, that's a quarterback,
well, it won't
right?
be Shedeur Sanders.
No, he's long gone.
What?
This just did. He went to Cleveland. ESPN didn't mention it, but, I think it's weird because, like, next year, as of right now, they have picks 1 through 4, and then there's a bunch of stuff where – because of the Cam Robinson bit, a little of that can switch back and forth, right?
Yeah.
So they have their first 3 picks. We didn't have it this year, and we didn't have it last year. They didn't have a second-round pick last year, right? So, but they had 2 first, right? So they're going to go into next year's draft with at least the first 4 picks. It's just kind of been weird, right? Like they've had these situations where a second round pick yesterday, there were some players there that it would have been great for them to have that pick, right? But who knows? They think very highly of Dallas Turner. Who knows if they've gotten that? Who maybe he can turn around here quickly. But man, this is as you just said, not a lot of people are taken when you have 4 picks, and not a lot of people are taken when you don't make that giant leap back in the first round that a lot of people thought we were going to do, where we saw it at pick 25. We saw the Rams move back. They maybe had that opportunity, but they liked the guy they took why can't I talk here? Hold on. Start over. 3-2, as your guy would say. As they took in Devon Jackson, they loved him. Starts at left guard. They're going to have a dynamite left guard to protect that quarterback who's yet to play a game in the NFL. There's a reason they didn't move down. They valued that guy at that pick.
Can I do Donovan Jackson?
Oh, what did I say?
Devon.
Well, Donovan Jackson. Sorry.
Fine.
This is where we're getting into the punchy ends of this draft bit that we always do. But it's always fun.
It's only been a 2-hour show.
Yeah, but you know me, 2 hours is long. This is the longest I talk, right?
I'm a big So I'm with you, but the basics of it is going into this draft, we knew it was going to be boring. Donovan, you got to hit if you're Kwesi. You got to hit if you're just this team trying to improve. 24 has to work out. We both love Donovan Jackson. And so I'm just intrigued to learn more about Ty Felton in terms of, you don't draft a guy that high. Well, just in case Addison misses a couple of games. No, it ain't about that.
No.
It's about improving the receiving core.
Correct.
And enhancing this offense and making sure, that everything around. That's why you bring Jordan Mason in. You bring in as much as you can to make sure that J.J. McCarthy has the best possible hold on this offensive operation. So happy with that, but if you take one, you got to leave one. And in this case, it feels like corners, and I'm looking at it as you got Rodgers, Blackman, and Murphy. You're looking at Okudah, of course, Dwight McGlothern. He has a chance to be better in year 2, but with limited capital, it feels like they're trying to make the most of it.
Brett's on the phone. I don't know what he's doing. It might be our next guest.
Might be Ty.
Who's going to join us for a couple of minutes here. Ty Felton, it's Meat Sauce and Nordo. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How you guys doing?
Welcome to the Twin Cities, man. Excellent. We're excited to have you. 102nd pick. Tell us what you bring to the Minnesota Vikings wide receiver room.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like I bring a complete wide receiver, man. I can get it done at all three levels, whether that's turning short pass plays like hitches, touchdowns, or any intermediate passes and taking hits and still coming out with the ball. Then with my speed, being able to take the top of the defense. So I feel like I'm just coming in without being a complete wide receiver and being able to make people miss as well with my yak ability.
Hey, Ty, it's Nordo here. Congratulations. And what has this process been like for you from the end of your final season with the Terps to now kind of building up to the idea of finding your way into the NFL and being selected by Kevin O'Connell, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, and the Vikings?
Yes, sir, man. It's been a blessing 100%. Because I grew up watching all of this stuff when I was a little kid. I remember 4 or 5 years old, I made a commitment that I wanted to go to the NFL. So hearing my name called yesterday was definitely truly a blessing. It was definitely surreal having all my family and friends there kind of cheering me on and that going on. But I'm honestly blessed to be able to go to the organization I'm able to go to and be able to compete and win. So it's a blessing 100%.
I love that. Now, I don't know what your familiarity is with Minnesota in totality, other than I saw you had 9 catches and 100 yards against our Gophers here, I believe, just earlier in 2024. But in terms of the Vikings, Justin Jefferson, you probably heard that name, Jordan Addison, and Kevin O'Connell. This is a team that doesn't mind airing it out, Ty, and you got that speed. What do you feel in terms of, getting to know Kevin O'Connell more, your coach, and getting to work with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be awesome. I've been seeing those guys the last few seasons, especially Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, how they've grown as players. And Addison, he's actually a DMV guy. We actually kind of have the same receiver trainer, so I'm familiar with him, and we know people that I know and stuff of that nature. But it's just going to be awesome being able to work with those guys and be able to work with the top guys in the league because I get to learn from them and kind of implement some of their game into my game. And then as far as Coach, they just went 14-3. They've been winning since I've been watching the NFL and stuff of that nature, and he has a great trajectory. And I just can't wait to get up there, man. It's definitely exciting to be able to go to the organization that I'm going to because it's a very positive and powerful organization, I feel. So.
No, that's awesome, and we're excited to welcome you to the team. And my last one, and really appreciate you giving us some time. Throughout this pre-draft process and such, had you had any contact with the Vikings, or had you, kind of as part of whether it's visits or it's at least phone conversations, just kind of working your way through things? Or was this a surprise potentially that the Vikings were the ones that ultimately showed up on your phone? What was that like in terms of when you ultimately found out you were going to Minnesota?
Yeah, 100%. I started talking to them a little bit more after my pro day. That's when everything kind of picked up a little bit. I ran a 4.37, so I heard from them a little bit. But definitely at the pro day, everything kind of picked up with them. And then
that's awesome.
Talking to my agent and stuff of that nature, he said they were very high on me. And if I was still around at that 97 pick, I was going to be considered. And then I seen that they traded back, and they ended up still taking me. So it was a blessing. And, yeah, they were kind of in contact with me throughout the process a little bit. But towards the end of the process, when we got closer to the draft, I definitely started to feel that real love from that staff and those guys. So
that's terrific, man.
Congratulations, man. We'll see you on the field. Can't wait to get to know you more when you get here for training camp and all the other OTAs and all that. Thank you, Ty Felton. Thank you very much, man.
All right. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. Can't wait to get up there.
Thank you. That's Ty Felton, the newest Minnesota Vikings wide receiver. Nordo, thank you. I'm Meat Sauce. Wild pregame. Bye.
It's me. 651 Carpets Plus. We bring the showroom to you. Come on in. Here's how your free in-home estimate works. We bring you all the latest and greatest styles to complement your home. We use our state-of-the-art measuring system so we can give you the best price for your project on the spot. And we have thousands of products that you could have installed the next day. Call 651 Carpets Plus for your free in-home estimate.
We have the preferred service agreement with Heating and Cooling 2.
I've been around Heating and Cooling 2 for probably 15 years.
When the technician first came out to the house, I was very comfortable. He was on time. He was very helpful in helping me understand what I needed to do.
I would recommend them just because they take so much pride in what they do. And they just show a lot of respect to the homeowner.
I would absolutely refer people to Heating and Cooling 2. My sister-in-law